there's one death I was reading about. This bloke was in a sort of wagon thing, a load of stuff. And at night, he got out of the wagon, lay down, and put his head on a huge chunk of ham. Like, how is he? Well, he died.
What a fantastic shirt our guest, Mr. Chris Tarrant, is wearing this morning.
I must admit, now, I've listened to a bit of the show.
Oh, yeah?
It's dreadful. It's just a shamble. What was that competition? Wibbly wobbly fish.
Yeah.
The Welsh for budgie is budgie, and the producer admitted, I haven't actually read the script.
Have you met producer John, Chris?
No.
Hello, Chris.
I don't think I want to.
I mean, I don't stand a chance when my producer admits he hasn't read the script.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's where we're at.
Well, nowhere. I'm sure I could go on Capital, one of the good shows.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we're the only station that you're doing today, so what an honour.
Well, I know, and obviously somebody could cancel. He dragged me out of bed.
We were really scraping the barrel for guests.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Denzel Washington couldn't make it.
He can make it today.
But a lovely Hawaiian shirt. I don't know if you can tell that Dad and I are off to Lord's today.
Yes. Where do you get your fashion sense from, Toby?
Yes.
That's a very nice shirt, that, actually.
Millets, I am.
Millets. That's very nice, that.
Don't they do camping stuff?
Yeah.
And Hawaiian shirts?
Yeah. If you're camping in 31 degrees, what are you waiting to put great hairy jumpers on? You
Exactly. Millets.
lovely little shirt.
A lovely Hawaiian
I
shirt.
am man at millets.
You are man at millets?
Yes.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, it means I go around looking like this. You see, in the good old days of radio, we didn't have all these cameras. And
No, I know.
Where?
Yeah.
We used to come in, obviously, at 5:30 to prepare the script, or make that 6:10. And the first thing we did, me or Annie, our producer, was put our coats over the webcam.
Yes.
Did
'cause
you? Yeah.
They tried to introduce the webcam many years ago when it first sort of launched, and you could watch the show live, and Dad used to go put his coat over it so that they couldn't, because I remember you saying the whole point of radio is I can turn up in the same T-shirt I was wearing yesterday completely hungover.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or come straight from Millionaire with a suit and tie on. Looking great.
The webcam it felt like spying, didn't it? But it wasn't, you weren't on TV or not on TV.
With the greatest respect, Tom, you know. You're not visual, are you? I mean, I don't mean that unkindly.
No, it doesn't sound unkind at all when you say it like that. It's absolutely fine.
Anyway, we could talk about all of that.
Wibbly wobbly fish.
Wibbly wobbly fish. But we're here to talk about Chris Tarrant for the Love of Bears, which I've got this book in front of me. I assume we're live on Global Player right now. You can see a lovely copy of this.
It's a lovely looking book.
So I took it on.
Lovely looking book.
It's a lovely looking book. We were saying
such good value.
That must be like £100 to buy in the shop.
Oh, nowhere near that.
Really?
It's your week's wage, 25 quid.
What? £25? That's a bargain.
It's a great, we were saying, great coffee table book.
Yeah.
You can imagine that sat there.
Yes, they always say this. I don't know anybody who's actually got a coffee table.
That's a very good point, well made.
We're all drinking coffee. Have we got a table?
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point.
That's a very good point.
But
It could be a tea table, of course.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Or
more
it
British.
could be a 12-pint of lager table.
Yeah, basically, if you've got a table that can carry a
Or you
beverage,
can leave it on the floor.
it doesn't matter. As long as you buy it,
Yeah.
that doesn't care what you do.
I don't give a damn what you do with it. Just buy it. Or it's ideal for one of those wobbly tables, and you put it under the leg.
A wibbly wobbly table.
Absolutely perfect.
Yes.
That was a treat.
But so I was saying this morning, because I said, Dad's coming on the show to lots of people. People said, your dad's on. And then they said, what's he talking about? And I said, he's written a book about bears, which to me makes perfect sense because I know you're obsessed with the animals. But to the person on the street, they'll go, Chris Tarrant likes bears, so you now need to explain how on earth this book came about.
Them.
You do, you're obsessed.
Well, I used to go with your granny to London Zoo, and, all the usual stuff, the lions and elephants. The one I love was bears. They are more intelligent than almost all other animals. They're kind of awesome, in the real meaning of the word, because they're huge, beautiful, and also really scary. And I read so much stuff about bear attacks. They will kill you. A lot of people are attacked by a bear, and they're killed in less than 20 seconds.
Whoa.
They just rip you to... The claws are like 3 times as long as the pad. So they're an amazing animal. Mainly, as long as you treat them, with respect. Don't do anything stupid. Don't run away, whatever you do. you know, they're okay. I've got some pictures in there of me really close to bears, you know.
Well,
initially I was terrified, to be honest.
Did you feel you were ever, when you saw all these bears sort of up close, did you feel ever in danger?
Initially, yeah.
Did you?
2 or 3. The last trip to Alaska, I didn't want to go because I'd read so much stuff about bear attacks and people being killed and eaten and God knows what. And we'd sort of been out the year before and we got a load of photos. I said, do I need to go back one more time? I had like bad dreams and things.
Really? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, then I woke up and I got a big brown pillow, so it was okay.
Right.
You know, one of the weird things, dogs cause a lot of bear attacks. People go with a dog, they let the dog off, he goes chasing after a bear, goes, and comes roaring back to the owner and then kills the owner.
Oh. But you're going off, thanks, dog.
But if you're on a horse, you're okay. If you're on horseback, if you get off the horse, you might be attacked. If you're on horseback, you know that big cheaps in the safaris, animals, you know, come really close. They never think of attacking. It's a big thing. And also, if you've got a cat.
Really?
Yeah, they never attack cats. I don't know why they don't.
How strange is that?
So if you go on holiday, say Alaska or Northern Canada, Northern Russia, pack a cat.
Leave some air holes.
Never mind your sun cream or your budgie smuggler. Take a cat.
Take a cat. Well, what's amazing, because the book starts off about your love of bears and how it started, and then it talks a little bit about, you know, facts about bears and your trips to Alaska and Canada and Norway and Russia, and then it's a lot of chapters about some horror stories about how aggressive they are. And you do about 10 stories of the hideous nature of bears. And then it just cuts to a photo of you. I don't know if you can see this on the cameras on Global Player. Stood, 2 feet away from them.
Fearless.
Whoa. But you've just done 10 chapters on how dangerous they are, and then it cuts to that photo.
I didn't do 10 chapters on how dangerous they are. Then go out and do a snap of me a foot from a bear, didn't I?
But it's quite terrifying when you see that photo. I didn't, because you told me you were going on this trip. Well, you went on a couple of trips. I didn't realise quite how up close and personal you were getting.
Yeah, but when we first went out, the first time to Alaska, and I'd read all this stuff, and I was quite scared, but the guide said, just stay behind me, don't do anything stupid, don't run, whatever you do, and all that stuff. And we saw this bear come about where Toby's sitting. Oof. You know, just across a little stream. It could have come just like that. And I'm quite frightened, you know. He says, okay, stand still. And then on the Wednesday, which was like day 3, this sounds really daft, but it's true. The same bear came back again, and it sort of came up and looked at me. And I'm thinking, that's very odd. It actually no, and I've seen it at London Zoo as well when I went with, you know, my mum. That bears actually recognise people. And I said to the guy, does that bear know me? He said, yeah. It's okay. He's just going, you're all right, mate. Nice to see you again Wednesday. As his son. but it's quite weird. And then I'll tell you a really weird thing. A lot of the damage to the cubs of bears are male bears eating them, and that's a big problem for the females, trying to fight them off and all that. And we were out one evening on a sort of seashore bit where the river comes into the main lodge, goes around the lodge area, and a lot of bears were down there feeding on salmon and stuff as the salmon came in. And one great big female came down with 2 dear little cubs, little tiny ones, and it came up towards us and just plonked these 2 little baby cubs right in front of us, like, you know, a couple of yards away, and then wandered off to catch a salmon. And I'm looking at, what's that about? And the little bears are just standing there. And then the bear caught a salmon, fed the little cubs, and they all wandered off back into the big woods behind the lodge. And I said to the guy, what's that about? He said, what that bear's doing, she's a female, she knows that with you there, no big male is going to attack her cubs.
Right.
So it's like a babysitting thing. I mean, I learned so much.
Incredible.
About that.
Really? Yeah. Little did she know that if a big bear had come along, you would have left those 2 bears.
We'd be off like a scalded bunny. No, don't run. When we once went to see the gorillas in Rwanda, we got an incredibly long trek up this great long mountain. We were sweaty and tired and whatever. And eventually we saw this huge male gorilla just staring at us, just sitting down eating a buttercup or something. And the guide says, if he makes a false charge, don't run. And I went, how do I know it's a false charge?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you define a false one?
I'd be off down the mountain like Fred Flintstone.
And you'd look so stupid if you stayed still. I always think
I'm
that.
standing here, this could be a false one.
Yeah, don't worry, this is one of those false charges I've heard so much about. Now, you did have one particularly close encounter with a bear involving you and some vodka jelly.
Ah, yes. Have you tried it?
I have. I've had some at Glastonbury before.
One for Christmas. It's a Russian thing. It's very, very strong. wrong. It's a Russian thing. Everything's a Russian thing. They just put jelly cubes into vodka and let it set. And it is very, very potent. So we had a night on the vodka jelly. I was feeling a little delicate the next morning, to say the least. And I was with Sean, who you know, my mate. So we're going salmon fishing. We've got all the heavy gear on, big waders and rods and whatever. And I was feeling quite rough. And the guide and Sean, I said, you two go ahead, I'll catch you up. So I sort of lay down on this nice bit of moss and had a sleep. And then when I woke up, I went, oh, that's a bear there. This great big brown bear. It's just big Russian, enormous bear. It's looking at me going, what's that silly little white English person doing there on my piece of moss where I normally sit? And he just looked at me and went, nah, I can't be bothered to kill it. I think I'll go and eat a salmon.
Wow.
I'm bored now with this silly little man. So that was that.
Oh.
And at the time, it didn't occur to me at all.
Yeah.
And then this guide comes running, Chris, have you seen a bear? Have you seen a bear? I see tracks everywhere, big bear. And I went, yeah, he's over here just now. He's just looking at me. What? He said, you are a stupid. You are a stupid. Which I've been called before, but not a stupid. Stupid. You are a stupid. And he never spoke to me for the rest of the week. But one
because he was so angry at you for passing out after some vodka jelly.
Exactly, it's his fault. Shouldn't have made vodka jelly.
Exactly.
But
blame him.
We went back to the lodge that evening, and the head ranger saying, guys, be careful, I warn you, when you go out tomorrow, stay close to your guide. There's one or two really dangerous bears out there. And I went, well, I saw one lunchtime. I said, what? You are a stupid. But I then learnt later that one of probably the most effective ways of keeping a bear attack at bay is to lie down and feign death. Now, people have done that, not climbing up trees, not running, not whatever, just lie very still. And you have incredible courage. And
Yeah.
But it does actually work. So in a way, probably saved my own life.
My son was
not so stupid.
My son was in Canada recently. He went over for a month with his friends, and he was told if you see a bear. So there's some mantra they say. I don't know if it's true. Is it black, shout back, brown, lie down, and white, as in polar bear, white, good night. You're in the trouble. Yeah. But they did see a brown bear, and they were going to go camping, and then they went back into their car very quickly and slept in the car for the night.
People do stupid things. There's one death I was reading about. This bloke was in a sort of wagon thing, a load of stuff. And at night, he got out of the wagon, lay down, and put his head on a huge chunk of ham. Like, how is he? Well, he died.
Because that's, they don't tell you that in the guidebook, do they?
Yeah, whatever you do,
take a
recommend
cat.
that one.
Yeah.
Your best chance.
Pack a cat and a ham.
Horse holding a cat. not a ham.
Perfect.
Just a cat.
Perfect. He has got his book For the Love of Bears, which is available right now. And there's brilliant photos in the book. The cameras are amazing. There's one photo where you've zoomed in and you can see a mosquito on a bear's nose. That's how good the cameras that you used are. But there's also one of you looking, in the prime of your life, a young Chris Tarrant, holding a massive rifle. Was that a good idea?
Well, yes. Of course it was. But this is in northern Norway, in Longyearbyen, where there's 2,500 polar bears. We took helicopters up and everything. We couldn't find them because they move off. It sounds daft.
Yeah.
Huge white thing. They just move off. But before you leave the town and go outside the actual main town, you must take at least 2 rifles per 4 people. So me and the cameraman, you just go in this shop. So I can have a rifle, please. That'll blow a hole in a polar bear. Oh, yeah, £9. And that's it. You don't get any ID or any of that.
That's mad, isn't it?
Isn't it?
There's some fascinating stories. I said the other day, it always blows my mind, the stories that I find out from other people about you that you've...
Yeah.
I've had to listen to so many boring stories about the big carp you caught once.
Yeah. How long have you got?
Well, we've got to get to the news in a sec. But
I could do about 45 minutes on my carp.
I don't think I knew about the time that Hillary Clinton turned up whilst you were looking for bears.
Yes, well, when I was looking for bears, Hillary Clinton turned up. That's kind of killed it.
Well, it's worked out quite nicely because we need to get to the news anyway. No, so what were you doing? You stood there one day and then Hillary's
My £9 gun.
Yes.
And there were all these goons appeared on this airport going, okay, hang on, just coming in now, and all that sort of headphones on and talking to mics. I'm just standing there with a rifle. At no point does anybody go, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? Spread them! None of that. I just went, there's a man there with a rifle. Anyway, here comes the plane, they went towards it. Out came Hillary Clinton, of all people in the world, got into a big car, they all piled in, okay, let's go. Safe here, no. It was me and the cameraman got a gun each, both sides of the car.
Where were you? What was she doing?
I don't know. I think she was doing a conference of some sort, very dull thing. But of all people, the Arctic Circle, me with a gun in my hand, and nobody said, "Excuse me, sir, have you got any bullets?" I've got a pocket full of bullets.
Wow.
A gun and a whole pocket full of bullets for £9.
Right.
Good value.
Well, there's lots of stories like that in the book, Chris Tarrant for the Love of Bears. So after 9 o'clock, Dad, stay there because I know you want to get to Lord's, but we need to talk about your side of events for the pubcast, which is the last time a lot of our listeners heard
How
from
is
you.
Chris Moyles? Is he still in hospital? Why are you so ginger?
Well, that was one of my questions, actually. Do you have any theories about who the father might be?
Yes, I do.
Is he a nice man?
No, he's horrible. Ginger. Yeah.
Do you think it's... I know I'm 33, but would he be up for playing catch in the yard, do you think?
I don't think so, no. He's a bit of a ginger wimp, to be honest.
Do you remember... So what we need is a Jeremy Kyle-esque paternity test
I
is
think
what
so.
we really need.
Yeah.
We could line up all the ginger men that my mother met in the
Absolutely.
90s.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
We won't get them all in Leicester Square, will we? We'll get them all in Leicester. Sarah, that's probably not a great idea.
Yeah, we need to finish the show at 10 o'clock.
That was lovely.
Sure, so my dad's mum, my lovely granny.
Yeah.
So, and when she got older, I remember she used to sit at home, and Dad would go around there every day and see it, and he used to say, "Mum, you can't just sit at home and stare at the wall. You need to, have something going on to distract you.
Keep so busy."
So you said, watch the TV.
I said, watch telly in the mornings when you're up and about. Watch telly. I thought a bit of This Morning or something. And a few knitting patterns or something, a bit of cooking, whatever. I go in, I can't come out yet. Mum, I'm busy. I've got to take you shopping down the Sainsbury's. No, I can't go out yet. Why? What are you doing? Watching Jeremy Kyle.
They're doing the DNA test.
It's all that.
Sure, I can't go to Sainsbury's. I need to find out who the father is
I know.
at the age of about 90.
That's brilliant.
She was. Wow.
You're going, I preferred it when you stared at the wall.
I know, I did. Saved it for her.
Well, Chris Tarrant for the Love of Bears is available right now. There's some incredible photos in there. And so, yes, go and get it immediately.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask you about the pubcast, because the last time a lot of our listeners would have heard from you
Yes.
was the legendary pubcast. Here's a little clip from it.
Chris, have you enjoyed yourself?
Not really.
There we go. From your point of view, because I texted you going, look, they'd love you to do this podcast. You said, what is it? I said, we get slightly merry and record a podcast.
Yeah.
And you said, I can do that.
Yep.
Did it surprise you at all?
Well, no. There was a rare glimpse of Chris Moore's wallet, but it went back in his pocket a bit quick. No, not really. It was sort of, I don't know, sort of liberating.
Yes.
You could say whatever you want.
Even though there's a microphone in front of you.
People just going, keep that in. Are you sure?
Yeah. But it
Moyles, I'm sorry, Moyles, what a lightweight.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, a thimble full of lager, he's sparking.
He did duck out early on that one, didn't he?
Good Lord.
The last thing I remember is he wouldn't stop.
The last thing I remember.
Well,
Right past that.
pretty much. Is he wouldn't stop hugging you.
I know.
Then he
Yes.
fell through a table and then he left.
Yes, that's
Well,
right.
he did
There
a
was
lot of damage, hadn't he?
a lot.
Yes.
His image was in tatters.
He's done a
Completely drunk, cuddling me. Like, what?
It raised a lot of money.
How?
It really did. Exactly. It
Seriously.
did, though. A lot of money.
It raised a huge amount of money, which I'm very, very pleased.
The highest ever by a long way, nearly
Yeah.
£200,000. I pedaloed down the River Thames for a week
Yes.
and raised about 300,000.
Yeah.
I should have just gone to the pub twice.
Have a load of absolutely. Just have a load of Guinness and raise a load of money.
Well, thank you very much
Yeah,
for doing
it's
it.
good fun.
Also,
Terrific fun.
well, it was great fun,
Yeah, it
wasn't
was.
it? It's not a bad way of raising nearly £200,000. But also, I appreciate you joining us on Radio X because I know, really, if you had your own way, you'd be downstairs at Radio X Classic Rock.
I love her. I just love her.
He loves Centre Templeton.
I love her so much. And, like, you're about to... Obviously, this week, you're doing this silly breakfast thing or whatever, but your normal job, 10 o'clock till whatever time I've never heard the end. But Santa comes on 9:30. I text Toby saying, no point you going in today. She's doing 10 Zeppelin in a row.
Wow.
Who does 10 Zeppelin in a row?
Santa
He does.
Yeah.
I love it. What a show. None of this DJ, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Just occasionally little nugget, and then she moves on.
Let the music do the talking.
She's the best.
Yeah. He does literally text me going, honestly, I'd pack it in today. She's doing 10 Zeppelin songs in a row. You can't beat that.
I don't say today.
Yes, well, if you've never checked out Radio X,
nowhere.
classic rock, a global player.
Welsh-speaking quizzes, which the producer hasn't read.
And her producer has the decency to read the script occasionally.
Well, exactly.
Chris Tarrant, For the Love of Bears, is available right now. It's a wonderful book. I was reading it on the tube this morning, which is slightly an odd book to read on the tube. There's one
of coffee tables in tubes.
well, exactly. But there's one particularly graphic photo of a polar bear, which I don't know what it's just eaten, but there's all bits of liver and...
It'll be seal.
Yeah, look at this. Page 100.
Seal.
Look at that.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not a barrel of laughs.
They are vicious, aren't they, apparently?
They are huge. And people are still killing them, which I've got a real bee in my bonnet. We're still doing this trophy hunting.
Yeah,
it's banned in Australia, it's banned in France, it's banned in... They're even talking about banning it in America. We're still doing it here, so people can get a licence from the government to go out and kill a polar bear and bring it home stuffed.
No,
that's
really
the lion population is really under threat now. We've killed... You remember that bloke, that Cecil the lion, all that's 10 years ago?
Yeah.
I just assumed America, the country that voted for Trump twice, and the National Rifle Association, I think this is an American thing. Brits do it as well. Mega rich Brits shoot loads of lions, elephants, whatever, bring them home. We've been trying to get this thing sort of stopped for about a year now. It's unbelievable. We're still doing it.
I can't believe... I didn't realise that people from Britain were doing it. That's
Something like 100 lions have been killed by British trophy hunters since Cecil. So that's in 10 years. It's terrible.
That is terrible.
Bears, cheetahs, everything. Endangered species.
That is shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is one story in the book that... I noticed you said, because you love animals and you love bears, but you go on safari pretty much every single year, and you've passed that love on to me. Safari is my favourite thing in the world. You and I have been on some lovely father-son safari trips. I couldn't help but notice you said in the start of the book that your trip to go and see the bears was better than any safari you've ever been on.
Well, yes, because I was on my own. Yapping kid at my heels.
How did you feel reading that?
Yeah, it's quite a knife in the old back, I thought.
It's a different experience. Safaris are fantastic.
Do you remember the time we went on safari and we got back to our hotel room and there was scented candles and rose petals on the bed?
Yeah, I never understood that. It was February the 14th. We got
true story.
A great big bath full of rose petals.
Love is in the air.
Chris and Toby in sort of pink flowers. And I went, is there something I don't know, Toby, about your development? Remember, I am supposedly your father. I'm getting in the bath with you.
So it was Valentine's Day. We were on safari. We got back to the room and someone at the hotel obviously thought that everyone there was a couple on for So I think they just had the name of people on their list. Right. And they went, right, make sure every room looks nice for Valentine's Day. Yeah. So we opened the door, me and Dad, rose petals on the bed. There's scented candles everywhere. The bath was full to the brim with bubble bath, and they'd made the towels two swans kissing. And it said Chris and Toby. Rose petals on the bed.
I told him not to do the towels. I did say, don't do the towels, just do the rose petals.
Everything else was fine. Drop the line of the towel.
Very pretty.
Thank you, Dad. We were getting some funny looks at dinner that night from the staff.
We certainly did.
Sadly, we've run out of time because Dad's off to Lord's, but another time we'll get you on and we'll tell everyone about the time you took me to a brothel in China.
Oh, yes.
Radio